Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Do you know what today is? It is Happy Monday. I hope you guys can hear me because I'm trying to be quiet. It is 4 a.m. here in Georgia. And today we are going to start the book, The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne W. Dyer, one of my favorites. I actually just finished reading on Friday the last chapters, 58 chapters in his book of I Can See Clearly Now. Amazing book. But anywho, I welcome you on this beautiful Monday morning for all of my early risers. And just to kind of give you a little background as to why I created the group, Early Risers. And I'm not going to go into great detail about that. I'll touch on that a little later. But so this group is a part of my normal routine. This is something that I've been doing now for the past 6 months, which is the Miracle Morning practice by Hal. What was his last name? Can't think of it right now, but it's in the About Me description there on this group page. But what I'm doing right now today, reading my book, is something that I do every single morning. It's just one of 6 steps that I've been doing every single morning for going on about 6 months now. And those steps are meditation or silence or prayer, whatever you choose to refer it to, visualization, affirmations, exercise, reading, and scribing. And if you break each step up in about 10-minute increments, you'll have a full day or full hour of an activity that you have done to do something for yourself, to help yourself, to grow yourself, to learn something, to motivate you, to also become disciplined in a practice. And of course, waking up in the morning, having a little bit of me time before you're out in the world, before you're dealing with stuff maybe at work or in your business, you have already, your mindset is already in control. You've already done the work on yourself to prepare you to be out and to take on any challenges that may arise. So today is my very first live here in this group, so I welcome all of you, and I appreciate all of your support. And even though in the About Me section I talk about doing a chapter per day, I come to realize late last night that in this particular book, there's 15 chapters, and I was really excited. I couldn't wait to start this book as soon as I finished this last book that I was reading. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can finish this book in 15 days. Like, how cool would that be in this shortest month that we have to have already started the second book? However, late last night, I realized that these chapters are very, very long. They're not short chapters. And so I went ahead and I started reading chapter 1 just to kind of see how long it was going to take me to complete chapter 1. And I was already over an hour and I wasn't even done with the chapter. So for this particular book, I am going to break it up in 30-minute increments, or maybe 35-minute increments. I'm sure that we can get through it in 2 different sections. So today we will do the first half of chapter 1, and tomorrow we will do the second half. So yeah, it'll probably take us about a good 30 days to finish this book. Now, I do want to say, just as a reminder, that these books that I am reading are books that I have personally bought for myself. This is something that, this is for my personal growth and my personal development. These were books that I've ordered 6 months ago when I first started this Miracle Challenge, Miracle Morning, for myself. This is a part of my reading time and the books that have interested me. However, earlier this weekend, I had some type of an enlightenment, and it was to share this information with you. And it started with this book, The Power of Intention. So I just want to make a little highlight here. The stuff that I read is, I had bought for me. I'm not here to change your spirituality, your religion. I'm not trying to convert anybody. This is just stuff that I know is beneficial for me, and I know that it's beneficial for many others. And so, yeah. So I'm not here, this isn't a religious group. This isn't, you need to do this, you need to do that. However, some of these books, they may mention spirituality, they may mention God, they may mention some type of religion or quote the scripture from the Bible, or other spiritual leaders and teachers throughout history. So I just kind of want to get that out of the way really quick. So we will start with chapter 1. And again, whether I was on this live or not, this is what I would be doing right now in this morning. So let me see if I can see the clock here. It's 10 after. All right, you guys. So chapter 1 is entitled Viewing Intention from a New Perspective. I don't know what you ever thought the word intention meant, but I've always understood it to be a thought with a purpose that led you to an action, which is your intention. So people have good intentions, people have bad intentions. Some people have intentions and then don't do nothing with them. They'll say, oh yeah, I do that. My intention is to do this, but they don't do it. So everyone has their own perception of what intention means to them. But in this book, it's going to enlighten us of a whole new meaning of what intention means. So as I'm going into this book, you may find that maybe you're not receptive to the information being shared, and that's okay. That's your business. That's your personal choice. But for those who maybe it resonates a little bit more, you guys, I know you will enjoy reading with me this book, The Power of Intention. So I will go ahead and get started with the first chapter. Excuse me, I was trying to fix my lighting earlier. But anyhow, I'm going to be looking down a little bit because this is where my light is. So pardon me as we get started. So viewing intention from a new perspective. Chapter 1. During the past several years, again, let me just real quick before I get started. These are the words of Wayne Dyer, okay? These aren't from me. These are the words of Wayne Dyer. I'm reading a book. So when I'm saying these things, think of it as they are coming from him, not from me. So during the past several years, I've been so strongly attracted to studying intention that I've read hundreds of books by psychological, sociological, and spiritual writers, ancient and modern scholars, and academic researchers. My research reveals a fairly common definition of intention as a strong purpose or aim accompanied by a determination to produce a desired result. So that would be the action step. People driven by intention are described as having a strong will that won't permit anything to interfere with achieving their inner desire. I imagine a sort of pit bull kind of resolve or determination. If you're one of those people with a never give up attitude combined with an internal picture that propels you toward fulfilling your dreams, you fit this description. You fit this description of someone with intention. You are most likely a superachiever and probably proud of your ability to recognize and take advantage of opportunities that arise. For many years, I've held a similar belief about intention. In fact, I've written and spoken often about the power of intention being just what I've described above. Over the past quarter of a century, however, I felt a shift in my thinking from a purely psychological or personal growth emphasis toward a spiritual orientation where healing, creating miracles, manifesting, and making a connection to divine intelligence are genuine possibilities. This hasn't been a deliberate attempt to disengage from my academic and professional background, but rather a natural evolution that's been unfolding as I began to make more conscious contact with my spirit, or with spirit. My writing now emphasizes a belief that we can find spiritual solutions to problems by living at higher levels, calling up faster energies, period. In my mind, intention is now something much greater than a determined ego or individual will. It's something almost totally opposite. Perhaps this comes from shedding many levels of ego in my own life. But I also feel the strong influence of two sentences I read in the book by Carlos Castaneda. In my writing life, I've often come across something in a book that starts a thought germinating in me that ultimately compels me to write a new book. At any rate, I read these two sentences in Castaneda's final book, mentioned, The Active Side of Infinity. So those were the two sentences in his book, The Active Side of Infinity. So while I was writing to have a cardiac procedure to open one clogged artery leading into my heart that had caused a mild heart attack. So he came across that sentence from Castaneda's book, The Active Side of Infinity, while he was there dealing with the heart attack and procedure that he was going through. So Castaneda's words were, intent is a force that exists in the universe. When sorcerers, those who live with source, beckon intent, it comes to them and sets up the path for attainment, which means that sorcerers always accomplish what they set out to do. So when I read those two sentences, I was stunned by the insight and clarity it gave me about the power of intention. Imagine that intention is not something you do, but rather a force that exists in the universe as an invisible field of energy. I had never considered intention in this way before reading Castaneda's words. I wrote those two sentences down, and then I had them printed on a card and laminated. I carried the laminated card with me into the catheter lab for my minor surgical procedure. And as soon as I could, I began talking about the power of intention to everyone who would listen. I made intention a part of every speech I gave. I immersed myself in this idea to use it, not only for my own healing, but to help others use the power of intention to carry them where they're fully equipped to go. I had experienced Satori, or instant awakening. And this was intent of offering this insight to others. So his awakening was an insight, was a, let me see. So this instant awakening, or this insight that he had, was something that he knew that he needed to share with others, and so he did so. It had become clear to me that assessing the power of intention relieves so much of the seemingly impossible work of striving to fulfill desires by sheer force of will. Since that defining moment, I've thought of the power of intention in virtually all of my waking hours. And books, articles, conversations, phone calls, items arriving in the mailbox, and arbitrary works I might be looking at in bookstores all seem to conspire to keep me on this path. So here it is, the power of intention. I hope this book will help you view intention in a new way and make use of it in a manner that leads you to define yourself as Patanjali suggested more than 20 centuries ago. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents come alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Patanjali's 2 words, dormant forces, kick-started me in the direction of writing about intention. Patanjali was referred to forces that appear to be either non-existent or dead, and he was referring to the powerful energy a person feels when inspired. If you've ever felt inspired by a purpose or calling, you know the feeling of spirit working through you. Inspired is our word for inspirited. I've thought long and hard about the idea of being able to access seemingly dormant forces to assist me at key times in my life to achieve an inner burning desire. What are these forces? Where are they located? And who gets to use them? Who is denied access? And why? So questions like these have propelled me to research and write this book, and subsequently arrive at a totally new perspective of intention. At this point, I am writing about my excitement and realizing a long obscured truth. I know that intention is a force that we all have within us. Intention is a field of energy that flows invisibly beyond the reach of our normal, everyday habitual patterns. It's there even before our actual conception. Let me read that again. It's there before our actual conception. We have the means to attract this energy to us and experience life in a new, exciting way. All right, y'all, getting through this, right? Okay, so first title or heading, where is this field? Where is this field called intention? Some prominent researchers that our intelligence, creativity, and imagination interact with the energy field of intention, rather than being thoughts or elements in our brain. The brilliant scientist David Bohm, writing in Wholeness and in the Implicate Order, suggested that all ordering influences and information is present in an invisible domain or higher reality and can be called upon in times of need. I found thousands of examples of these kinds and conclusions in the research and reading I did. If scientific evidence appeals to you, I suggest that you read The Field, The Quest for the Secret Force of the Universe by LENE. Her book is filled with studies supporting the existence of a higher, faster energy dimension or field of intention that can be tapped into and used by everyone. Might need to get that book. So the answer to where is this field, there is no place that it's not, because everything in the universe has intention built into it. This is true for all life forms, whether it be wild beast, a rose bush, a mountain. A mosquito has intent built into its creation and life experience. A tiny acorn with no apparent power to think or make plans for its future contains intention from the invisible field. If you cut the acorn open, you won't see a giant oak tree, but you know it's there. An apple blossom in the springtime appears to be a pretty little flower, yet it has intention built into it, and it will manifest in the summer as an apple. Intention doesn't err. The acorn never turns into a pumpkin or the apple blossom into an orange. Every aspect of nature, without exception, has intention built into it. And as far as we can tell, nothing in nature questions its path of intent. Nature simply progresses in harmony from the field of intention. We too are intended from the energy of this field. There is what some called a future pull in the DNA that's present at conception in each of us. The moment of our conception, when an infinity tiny drop of human protoplasms combined with an egg, life in physical form begins, and intention directs the growth process. Our body structure, the shape of our physical features, our development, including our aging, are intended in that moment of conception. Where did this life born of intention begin? As we examine that seed egg dance attempting to discover its origin, moving backwards towards creation, we first find molecules, then atoms, then electrons, then subatomic particles, and then subatomic particles. Ultimately, were we to put these tiny quantum subatomic particles into a particle accelerator and collide them, trying to put our finger on the source of life, we discover with what Einstein and his scientific compatriots discovered, there's no particle. There's no particles at the source. Interesting, right? Particles do not create more particles. The source with intention is pure, unbounded energy, vibrating so fast that if it defies measurement and observation, it's invisible without form or boundaries. So, at our source, we are formless energy, and in that formless vibrating spiritual field of formless energy, intention resides. On a lighter note, I know it's there, since somehow it managed to get into a drop of sperm and an ovarian egg and determined that my hair will no longer grow on my head after 25, And in my 50 years, it will grow in my nose and ears. And all I, as the observer, can do is snip it away. This field of intent can't be described with words, for the words emanate from the field, just as do the questions. That placeless place of intention, and it handles everything for us. It grows my fingernails, it beats my heart, it digests my food, it writes my books, and it does this for everyone and everything in the universe. This reminds me of an ancient Chinese story I love, told by Chuang Tzu. So now this next quote is by Chuang Tzu. There once was a one-legged dragon called Hui. How on earth do you manage those legs? He asked a centipede. I can hardly manage one. Matter of fact, said the centipede, I do not manage my legs. Therefore, there's a field invisible and formless that manages it all. The intention of this universe is manifested in zillions of ways and in the physical world. And every part of you, including your soul, your thoughts, your emotions, and of course the physical body that you occupy, are a part of this intent. So if intention determines everything in the universe and is omnipresent, meaning there's no place that it's not, then why do so many of us feel disconnected? Why do we feel so disconnected from it frequently? And even more important, if intention determines everything, then why do so many of us lack so much of what we'd like to have? So our next subheading, the meaning of omnipresent intention. Try imagining a force that's everywhere. There's no place that you can go where it isn't. It can't be divided, and it's present in everything you see or touch. Now extend your awareness of this infinite fields of energy beyond the world of form and boundaries. This infinite invisible force is everywhere, so it's in both the physical and non-physical. Your psychological body is one part of your totality emanating from this energy. At the instant of conception, intentions set in motion how your physical form will be and how your growing and aging process will unfold. It also sets in motion your non-physical aspects, including your emotions, thoughts, disposition. And in this instant, intention is infinite, potential achieving your physical and non-physical appearance on earth. You formed out of the omnipresent to become present in time and space. Because it's omnipresent, this energy field of intent is accessible to you after your physical arrival here on earth. The only way you deactivate this dormant force is by believing that you are separate from it. Activating intention means rejoining your source and becoming a modern-day sorcerer. Being a sorcerer means attaining a level of awareness where previously inconceivable things are available. As Carlos Castaneda explained, the task of a sorcerer was to face infinity, meaning intention, and they plunged into it daily, as a fisherman plunges into the sea. Intention is a power that's present everywhere as a field of energy. It isn't limited to physical development. It's the source of non-physical development as well. This field of intention is here, now, and available to you. When you activate it, you'll begin to feel purpose in your life, and you'll be guided by your infinite self. Here's how a poet of a spiritual teacher describes what I'm calling intention. So now this is a quote I'm getting ready to read. O Lord, thou art on the sandbanks, as well as in the midst of the current, I bow to thee. Thou art in the little pebbles, as well as in the calm expanse of the sea, I bow to thee. O all-pervading Lord, thou art in the barren soil and in the crowded places, I bow down to thee. And this is from Vita, or this is from Sukla Yajur. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sukla Yajur. So, as you make your metaphorical bow to this power, recognize that you are bowing to yourself. The all-pervading energy of intention pulses through you toward your potential life. Pulses through you toward your potential for a purposeful life. So next subheading, how you came to experience yourself as a disconnected from intention. If there's an omnipresent power of intention that's not only within me, but in everything and everyone, then we're connected by this all-pervading source to everything and everyone. And to what would like to be, or what we'd like to be. What we'd like to have, what we'd want to achieve, and to everything in the universe that will assist us. All that's required is realigning ourselves and activating intention. But how do we get disconnected in the first place? How do we lose our natural ability to connect? Lions, fish, and birds don't get disconnected. The animal, vegetable, and mineral worlds are always connected to their source. They don't question their intention. We humans, however, with our capability for presumably higher brain functions, have something we refer to as the ego, which is an idea that we construct about who and what we are. Ego is made up of 6 primary ingredients that account for how we experience ourselves as disconnected. By allowing ego to determine your life path, you deactivate the power of intention. Briefly, here are the 6 ego beliefs. I've written more extensively about them in several of my previous books, and the most notable, Your Sacred Self. I'm sure that's going to be a good book. So here are these 6 ingredients. Number 1, I am what I have, meaning my possessions define me. Number 2, I am what I do, meaning my achievements define me. Number 3, I am what others think of me, meaning my reputation defines me. Number 4, I am separate from everyone, meaning my body defines me as alone. Number 5, I am separate from all that is missing in my life, meaning my life space is disconnected from my desires. And number 6, I am separate from God, meaning my life depends on God's assessment of my worthiness. That's pretty deep right there. And of course, this is very true. A lot of people, they define themselves based off what they have, what their possessions are, their titles, their rankings. And so yeah, this is going to be very interesting, learning about how to detach our ego and learning about this power of intention, because our ego definitely needs to be detached, period. Okay, so let's continue. No matter how hard you try, intention can't be accessed through ego. Didn't I just say that? So take some time to recognize and readjust any or all of these 6 beliefs. When the supremacy of ego is weakened in your life, you can seek intention and maximize your potential. So real quick, I'm just going to go over these 6 really quick. I am what I have. I am what I do. I am separate from everyone. I am separate from all that is missing in my life. I am separate from God. Back to 1, meaning my possessions define me. House, cars, money, whatever. My achievements define me. Certificates, titles. My reputation defines me. My body defines me as alone. My life space is disconnected from my desires. My life depends on God's assessment of my worthiness. I may have to take notes later on this stuff, and I definitely recommend and encourage you guys to do the same. Okay, so next subheading, holding on to the trolley strap. Holding on to the trolley strap. This is a practice I find exceedingly helpful when I want to activate intention. You may find that it works for you too. See chapter 3 for an entire chapter describing ways to access intention. One of my earliest memories is of my mother taking her 3 boys on the streetcar on the east side of Detroit to Waterworks Park. I was about 2 or 3 years old, and I recall looking up from the seat and seeing the hand strap hanging down. The grown-ups were able to hold onto the straps, but all I could do was imagine what it would be like to be so tall to grab those straps, way above my head. I actually pretended that I was light enough to float up to the hanging handles. I then imagined feeling safe and the trolley taking me where it was destined to go, and at whatever speed it chose. Picking up other passengers to go along on this glorious adventure of streetcar riding. In my adult life, I used this image of the trolley strap to remind myself to get back to intention. I imagine a strap hanging down about 3 to 4 feet above my head, higher than I'm capable of reaching or jumping up to grab. The strap is attached to the trolley. Only now the trolley symbolizes a flowing power of intention. I've either let go of it or it's just out of my reach temporarily. The strap is attached only now that the trolley symbolizes a flowing power of intention. I got lost for a second. In moments of stress, anxiety, worry, or even physical discomfort, I close my eyes and I imagine my arms reaching up. And then I see myself float up to the trolley strap. As I grab the strap, I have an enormous feeling of relief and comfort. What I've done is eliminate ego thoughts and allow myself to reach intention. And I trust this power to take me to my destination, stopping when necessary and picking up companions along the way. In some of my earlier works, I've called this process the pathway to mastery. The 4 pathways may be helpful to you here as steps towards achieving an intention. So now we're going to talk about these next 4 steps. Let me fix my book here. Activating your power of intention is a process of connecting with your natural self and letting go of total ego identification. The process takes place in 4 stages. Step 1, discipline. Discipline is the first stage. Learning a new task requires training your body to perform as your thoughts desire. So, eliminating ego identification doesn't mean disconnecting from your relationship with your body, but rather training your body to activate those desires. You do that with practice, exercise, non-toxic habits, healthy foods, and so on. Number 2, wisdom. This is the second stage. Wisdom combines with discipline, fosters your ability to focus and be patient as you harmonize your thoughts, your intellect, and your feelings with the work of your body. We send children off to school telling them, be disciplined and use your head, and call this education. But it falls short of mastery. Number 3, love. Love is the third stage. After disciplining the body with wisdom and intellectually studying a task, this process of mastery involves loving what you do and doing what you love. A phrase most of us are familiar with, right? In the world of sales, I call it falling in love with what you are offering, and then selling your love or enthusiasm to potential customers. When learning to play tennis, it involves practicing all of the strokes, while the feeling of hitting the ball and being on the tennis court and everything else about the game. Number 4, surrender. Surrender is the 4th stage. This is the place of intention. This is where your body and your mind aren't running the show. This is where I'm trying to get to. And you move into intent. In the universe, there is an immeasurable, indescribable force which shamans calls intent. And absolutely everything that exists in the entire cosmos is attached to intent by a connecting link. Is the way Carlos Castaneda described it. You relax, grab the trolley strap, and allow yourself to be carried by the same power that turns acorns into trees, blossoms into apples, microscopic dots into humans. So grab that trolley strap and create your own unique connecting link. Absolutely everything in the entire cosmos, including you, are disciplined, wise, loving self, and all of your thoughts and feelings. When you surrender, you lighten up and can consult with your infinite soul. Then the power of intention becomes available to take you wherever you feel destined to go. I really like that. All of this talk of intention and surrender may cause you to question where your free will fits in. You might be inclined to conclude that free will is non existent, or that you become whatever your program dictates. So let's take a look at your will and how it fits into this new view of intention. As you read the next two sections, please keep an open mind, even if what you read conflicts with what you believed all your life. Let me see where we are with timing. Okay, got about 10 more minutes or so. So let's take a look into this next subheading, intention and your free will are paradoxical. A paradox is a seemingly absurd or contradictory statement, even if well-founded. Intention and free will certainly qualify as being paradoxical. They conflict with many a preconceived notion of what's reasonable or possible. How can you possess free will and also have intention shaping your body and your potential? You can fuse this dichotomy by choosing a belief in the infinity of intention and in your capacity to exercise free will. You know how to think rationally about the rules of cause and effect, so try your intellect on this. I gotta stretch my legs, y'all. I always sit on my chair in the morning when I'm meditating, and my legs are crossed, and when I'm doing my reading, my legs are crossed as well, and I need to get them stretched out. Okay. Obviously, it's impossible to have two infinities, for then neither would be infinite. Each would be limited by the other. You can't divide infinite into parts. Essentially, infinite is unity, continuity, or oneness. Like the air in your home. Where does the air in your kitchen stop and the air in your living room begin? Good question, right? Where does the air inside your home stop and the air outside start? How about the air you breathe in and out? Air may be the closest way we can come to understanding the infinite, universal, omnipresent spirit. Somehow you must travel in thought beyond the idea of your individual existence to the idea of a unity of universal being. And then beyond this to the idea of a universal energy. When you think of parts of a whole being in one place and a part in another, you've lost the identity of unity. And keeping an open mind, as I beseeched you earlier, get this. At any moment in time, all spirit is concentrated at the point where you focus intention. Therefore, you can consolidate all creative energy at any given moment in time. This is your free will at work. And that's powerful, right? Your mind and your thoughts are also thoughts of the divine mind. Universal spirit is in your thoughts and in your free will. When you shift your thoughts from spirit to ego, you seem to lose contact with the power of intention. Your free will can either move with universal spirit and its unfolding, or away from it toward ego dominance. As it moves away from spirit, life appears to be a struggle. Slower energies flow through you, and you may feel hopeless, helpless, and lost. You can use your free will to rejoin higher, faster energies. The truth is that we do not create anything alone. We are all creatures with God. Our free will combines and redistributes what's already created. You choose. Free will means that you have the choice to connect to spirit or not. Plain and simple. So the answers to the questions, do I have free will? And is intention working with me as an all-pervasive universal force? Answer is yes. Can you live with this paradox? If you think about it, you live with paradox in every moment of your existence. At the exact same instant that your body with beginning and ends, with boundaries and a definition in time and space, you are also an invisible, formless, unlimited thinking and feeling being. A ghost in the machine, if you will, which you are. Matter or essence, physical or metaphysical, form or spirit. The answer is both. Even though they appear to be opposite, do you have a free will? And are you part of the destiny of intention? Answer is yes. Fuse the dichotomy, blend the opposites, and live with both of these beliefs. Begin the process of allowing spirit to work with you and link up to the field of intention. Let me check this time. 5 more minutes. Next subheading. At intention, spirit will work for you. And that's what we want. We want it to work for us, right? I know I'm looking crazy at 4 in the morning, but that's all right. I don't care. That's my business. All right, you guys. So on to our last subheading before we stop, because this is a long chapter. So with your free will consciously declining to reconnect to the power of intention, you are altering its direction. You'll begin to feel pleasant recognition and reverence for the unity of spirit and yourself as an individual concentration of it. I silently repeat the word intent or intention to help me get my ego and my self-absorption out of the picture. I often think of this quote from Castaneda's Power of Silence. Having lost hope of ever returning to the source of everything, the average man seeks solace in his selfishness. So for me personally, I attempt to return to the source of everything on a daily basis, and I refuse to be the average man that Castaneda describes. Many years ago, I decided to give up drinking alcohol. I wanted my experience, continuous sobriety, to improve my ability to do the work that I felt was burning inside of me. I felt compelled upon to teach self-reliance through my writing and speaking. Several teachers had told me that complete sobriety was a prerequisite for the work I was called to do. In the early stages of this dramatic life change, a power seemed to help me when I was tempted to return to old habits of having a few beers one evening or each evening. On one occasion, in my state of wavering, I actually went out to purchase a 6-pack, but forgot to bring money with me. I never forget to take cash with me. In the few minutes it took me to return home and retrieve the cash, I reevaluated the free will that would allow me to buy beer and choose to stay with my intention. I found as the first weeks passed that these kinds of events starting to occur with regularity. I'd be guided by circumstances that led me away from situations where drinking was a temptation. A telephone call might distract me from a temptation situation. A family mini crisis would erupt and deter me from a potential slip. Today, a couple of decades later, it's clear to me that a firm handle on that trolley strap I described earlier allowed me to be whisked along with my path to destinations evoked eons ago by intention. And I also see that my free will is a paradoxical partner of the power of intention. My awareness of intention as a power for me to reconnect to, rather than something my ego must accomplish, has made a huge difference in my life's work. The simple awareness that my writing and speaking are manifested from a field of intention has been of immeasurable benefit to me. I am awed by the creative energy when I get my self-importance and ego identification out of the way. Before taking the microphone, I send the ego to the lobby or tell it to have a seat in the audience. I repeat the word intent to myself and feel myself floating up to this energy field of intention. I surrender and allow, and I find myself completely at ease, remembering tiny details in the midst of my speech, never losing my way, and experiencing the unique connection that's occurring with the audience. Fatigue dissolves, hunger disappears, even the need to pee vanishes. How about that? Everything that's necessary for delivering the message seems almost effortlessly available. Wow, this is such an exciting book for me to be starting. And it's such an exciting experience for me to be sharing this moment with you all. Now, just keep in mind, again, whether I'm on this live or not, this is exactly what I would be doing right now at 4 a.m. This is just one of 6 practices that I do each morning. When I first wake up, my clock goes off at 3:45 every single morning. And I don't necessarily spring out of bed at 3:45, but when my alarm goes off, I don't snooze anymore. I used to hit the snooze button, and I don't snooze it. I dismiss the alarm because that's my time to slowly open my eyes, get my thoughts together. And as I lay there waking up, I stay in a state of gratitude and thankfulness that I've been given another opportunity of life. And for me, that means, Darlene, you have another day to get it right. Because some days I get it wrong, and some days we all get it wrong. But just knowing that all of us here today, whoever reads this or watches this live, anyone who woke up today got another day of life to get it right. So whether we do anything with it, we clearly are learning about, we have this power of intention. What is our free will? How are we using it? What are we doing? What is our purpose? And so at 3:45 in the morning, when I hit that dismiss button on my phone, I stay in a state of gratitude for 15 minutes as I'm opening my eyes trying not to drift off, because I've fallen straight back to sleep in my state of gratitude. I've fallen straight back to sleep. But this is my practice. This is my daily routine, the miracle morning. And with me being in a state of gratitude, it changes my whole mindset, and I'm refreshed, even if I didn't sleep well that night. Just knowing that I woke up and my family woke up. I can hear my son snoring when he's asleep beside me. I know he's alive, and I'm grateful for everybody in my life, all those people that are around me, my family. Even though they are all so far away, on the West Coast, I think about each and every single one of you every single day, every morning when I wake up. I'm thankful that you are still a part of my life. I have woken up, and I know that you have woken up too. And then once I actually get out of bed, which is about 4 a.m., so it takes me about a good 15 minutes to kind of open my eyes, be in a state of gratitude, and then get out of bed. And when I get out of bed, I either start with some stretching, some light stretching. I don't do a full-on exercise. You can. So let me just kind of take a step back. So if none of you guys are familiar with the Miracle Morning, it is a 6-step program, and it consists of meditating, prayer, silence, whatever you want to call it. I do my 15 minutes laying there in a state of gratitude. So that, to me, that's my silent time. You can do 10 minutes of silence, 10 minutes of visualization, 10 minutes of affirmations, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of exercising, and 10 minutes of scribing or journaling, writing in your notebook, something, anything. You could scribble something, I don't know. But just taking the time to write something down. Go over your affirmations. Look at your vision boards. I have mine all on this side. You can't see them just quite, but reflecting. And for me, I don't ever start with my meditations, even though when I'm laying in the bed at 3:45 to 4, I'm in a state of gratitude. But when I get up and into this seat, I always pretty much either start with my stretching, my light exercise, or reading. And I do more than 10 minutes of reading because I'm completing a full chapter. So if I wasn't doing this video, taking into consideration everybody else's morning, I would have taken a whole hour to read this chapter today. And because I'm up early enough, I still have, I have the time to do it. So I either start with my exercises or my reading. I found that in the past, if I wake up, stroll out of the bed, and come sit in this chair when it's still a little bit dark, and I go into my meditation or my prayer time, I'll fall asleep. So I stopped doing that. So I go into my light exercise, I read my book, and generally it's for much longer than 30 minutes. Then I can do my affirmations, my visualizations, my meditation, and I start writing in my notebook. And this is my me time. This is my personal care time for Darlene. And this has helped me so much, you guys, because it has prepared my mindset to go out into the world to handle any situations that will come my way, to handle any situations that may arise at work or with my family or with anything, strangers, I don't know. But if you don't have a morning routine, I strongly encourage you to find one that works for you. And even if it's getting up with me at 4 a.m., just doing this reading segment that is a part of my miracle morning is a start. It's a step into the right direction. And I did write something down. I wanted to leave you something to think about as I and as you all continue with your mornings and your days. And I know it's not morning everywhere around the world. It's nighttime somewhere. It's in the afternoon somewhere. But here in Atlanta, Georgia, it's morning. So I seen this quote, and this is what it says, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoy it too. It says, "The universe is saying to you today, respect yourself and your beliefs and walk your talk. Honor your life with purpose and with intention, and embrace the path that you know is yours to take. Stand in your power and be aware of the energies you send out. Be aware of the energies that you send out. You also want to be aware of the energies that you start receiving in as well." But I appreciate all of you who came on, or if you weren't able to join me for the live 4 a.m. session, I totally get it. Not everybody wants to get out of bed this early. As a matter of fact, I woke up in the 1 o'clock hour. I couldn't fall back asleep. And as I started to doze off, my little one, he woke up in the 2 o'clock hour. So then I was in his room with him. And finally he fell asleep. And just as I got back into my bed, it was time for me to get up to start my self-care routine. So even though I'm tired, even though I know I'm going to have a long day, I feel good. I feel refreshed. So I'm getting ready to continue my other parts of my morning miracle, my power hour, so to say. So I'm getting ready to start with my meditation, and then from there do my affirmations and visualizations and so forth. But I thank you so much on this happy Monday for joining me. I love you all. I wish you a very well day. And always remember, stay in the power of intention. What is your intention? What is your choices you are going to make today? You have free will. You can either do it this way or you could do it that way. So thank you all. Thank you so much for joining me. I know I'm looking a little crazy, but I don't care because that's my business. And however you look right now, that's your business. But have a wonderful, wonderful, happy Monday. Thank you.